Hey everyone, welcome to another music lesson. Today is part 2 of learning the piano. I had a really good time learning a new series. I followed another musician, a piano teacher I didn't catch her name, but I put her in the credits. It's called Piano Video Lessons, and I put that in the description. But I'll basically kind of summarize what I learned in the first roughly 20 sessions. She has a playlist of over 90 sessions, and you can go to her website, pianovideolessons.com, I think it is. But basically, today I want to share with you everything I've learned more about the piano, and it's very for beginners, and hopefully over time this will continue to get better. So let's talk about the categories. So first, we're going to talk about finger exercises, landmark notes, reading music, sight music, and then what's called piano forte. And then some songs that she gives you to practice. So finger gems. Finger gems are basically ways to strengthen your piano fingers. And what I love about this is you can practice this no matter where you are. And I listen to these on my commute, on the train, and I don't have a piano accessible, so I can do this anytime I want. So first thing is, if you can see this, just put your hand down and pull up your fingers just like this. And you strengthen your fingers. And another one would be like this. And just do these a few minutes a day, each and every day. Because, for example, my left hand is weaker than my right. And so I need to strengthen this. Another thing you can do is push and pull your fingers. Like push this way and do that. And then also tug at them. Another suggestion would be Play-Doh or your palm of your hand and just push and strengthen them, because you can tell which ones are stronger than others, and strengthen that weakest length, and that'll be easier for you down the road. Okay, landmark notes. Landmark notes are a great way to get started on reading music. There's a couple. The first one is your G, so this is your treble clef here. And generally when you're reading music, just draw a line on the G and start with this. This is the first landmark note. The other one is your F, which is on the bass clef right there. And that's bass clef starts here and between the two dots. And a good way to remember that is the fourth column. So 1, 2, 3, 4. F starts with 4. Or 4 starts with F. So right there is your fourth. And then you go from there. So just start a basic song and practice G and F on the piano. G and F. So for example, C would be on this hand and G would be here. And then you could do F over here. Another couple ways, if you probably already know, there's acronyms. So every good boy deserves fudge is one example. But another way to remember these as you work your way out. So here's your landmark note, and here's a landmark note. You just work your way out to the next notes above and underneath. So you practice the landmark, and then you practice the two next to it. And the best way to, if you're having trouble remembering notes, is just come up with words. So if we're trying to remember names, we don't necessarily remember the name, but we remember what is related to it. So for example, right here, we could come up with an object like a boat or a bird, and that boat or bird is either floating or sitting on top of the line. Another one was A for a student. A student would be on the top of the line. Another one would be D for drip. That's just below the line. So these are some good suggestions she gave just to remember those notes if you're having trouble, and you can come up with that for all of them. Okay, practice. The best way to do it is just start simple and do it with both hands. Get the same exercise with your left and your right and both at the same time. And also practice moving your finger positions. So you might start with C here, and then you might move it over to F and play your first finger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see that on your sheet music, the numbers. Practice a variety of rhythms. That would be different quarter, half note, whole notes. Make sure you get a mixture of those so you're practicing your movements. And then get through it several times. Don't keep moving on. Get really good at it. I mean, you can. I've done that. But it also helps if you practice it until you don't make a mistake, and then you basically commit it to memory. Okay, another good suggestion she had is flashcards. Think back in school when you're trying to remember vocabulary. Another good way to do it is use flashcards. So what she did was you start with your landmark notes, your C and your F, C and your F here, and then work your way out. So it could be going to this note, these notes, these notes, these notes, these notes, and just keep working your way until you memorize all the notes. And once you have really memorized a note, put a flashcard down. And also, if you're doing songs, she had created her own music, and it was basically, we're going to start with music that just plays these two notes. And then we're going to play a music that plays these 4 notes, and you just keep adding on. Okay, here's some tips before, after, to prepare while you're playing and after you play. So here's some steps before you play. This is a great idea. Just examine your sheet music and look over it and look at all the patterns. So you're going to want to start by practicing reading it. You can name the notes. You can clap the music, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also do a whole notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can examine for the numbers above the music. You might have a 1 or a 2, and that's telling you which finger to play on. And then also name the notes. Okay, and then while you're practicing, look for the note direction. So if that might be 1 up, 1 up, 1 down, 1 down. If you're doing a scale, just practice that. Just read that back. 1 up, up, down, up, down. And then practice the tempo. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So look at that before you even start to play. Then when you're starting to play, then you start to really get used to the tempo, and you can think of ahead. So if you're looking at one bar, you can look at the next bar. And as you're playing that bar, then you can look at the next bar, and you just keep doing that, and you stay 1 bar ahead. Relax, make sure you have good posture. Keep your roundedness in your fingers. So it's good to, if your hands are upside down, they're usually curved at this position. So if you turn them over, naturally, like if you turn them over, that's about where you want your fingers' positions to be. And then when you're playing, you don't want your fingers way up here. You want to keep them down and just press the ones there. You can count out loud, even sing while you're playing if you had some notes to it. If you're a singer, that always helps you improve. And then after you play, some good ideas is circle your mistakes and make those your strong points instead of your weak points. And then just keep playing those, just like playing a game. You have to conquer those weak points and just keep playing it. Sight reading. Sight reading is where you basically read the whole sheet music without making any mistakes, and you do it just once. It's not really practicing, but you're just going through it, and you've become more advanced. Things you can do, again, you can scan the whole music, look for patterns, and group those. So here's an example she gave. You can see the number here she's showing are the beats. So here's a quarter notes, here's a half note, here's a whole note. She put in the counts. And then up here is the finger numbers that I talked about, where to place your finger. And then here's a pattern. So you see 4, and you see 4 here. You see 4, you see 4. And you see a whole note and a whole note. So you can almost predict before you even play this whole line here that it's going to be very same to here. So then essentially you're not even need to read that far ahead. You know it's going to be a duplicate. Naturally, humans are pattern matchers. Okay, last topic is piano forte that she taught. And this is based off French, but you'll see that in the music. Not here, but it'll be in the middle of the sheet music. So piano is going to be for soft and forte is for loud. So if you're on an acoustic instrument and you press harder down, then you're going to hear a louder tone. Or if you're softer, you're going to hear a softer tone. Most electric pianos don't have this feature. There are some out there, but it's a nice feature in playing. All right, that's okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of practice songs that she gives. So basically, when you're adding on notes, practice each song that she has. There's about one per lesson. So the ones I covered is maybe anywhere from 10 to 20 songs that she's created, and they're really, really good to go through. And here's the link to her video, so go check it out. Hopefully I'm just sharing this information as something I learned and I'll continue to build. So hopefully you found this useful, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Cheers.